Alright, so here we have the Snowspeeder Luke Skywalker from the 40th anniversary line for Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. You can see cool retro packaging, Kenner at the bottom, picture of Mark Hamill, 40th anniversary at the top as well too, this little shiny logo, nice touch. Then on the back we have pictures of the other figures, some warnings at the bottom, and it says, commemorate the 40th anniversary of Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back with figures from the Black Series featuring classic design and packaging. So pretty nice packaging. Let's take a look at the figure. So here we have Luke Skywalker. He only comes with two accessories, the first being his lightsaber, which is pretty typical. It's a little bit of a struggle to pop that out there, but you can pop it off, and there's a big hook here, and you can just kind of hook that onto his belt. It's a bit big though. There you go. So you can hang that on his belt if you like, and the blue saber is actually kind of a light blue. So looks nice enough. Would have preferred like a little bit of a darker blue like the Yavin Luke, but this is a fine color. It looks cool. And then the second accessory we get is this helmet, which you can see is kind of a pain in the ass to take off because they introduced a new piece of articulation where there's a ball joint in the neck and at the top of the neck. Inside the head there's a ball. So it's definitely interesting, but we'll talk about that more later. However, it does really get in the way of taking this helmet off. So it might be easier with it on, to be honest. It's kind of gets hooked on his nose here, and it's just a pain. And I'm really worried about ruining paint on him. Luckily, the top part of his head is all white, though, so that's good, I guess. Come on now. We just want to see that Mark Hamill face. You guys can see this is definitely a struggle. So that's probably the biggest downfall of the figure. So I'm going to pause here, and I'll take a minute to get this off. Okay, so it is off, and here we have the helmet. And it is very nicely done. It's a soft plastic material, translucent amber-like color. So it's very nice, and obviously it fits very snug on the action figure's head. With that said, let's take a look at the face sculpt of this Mark Hamill. And it is using that photoreal tech. And man, it is absolutely amazing. I really love this face sculpt. I know prior to this, my favorite face sculpt was probably on the X-Wing Luke, of course, but I have to say I'm liking this a lot more. It looks very, very nice. So overall, this figure has really, really nice paint, nice designs all throughout, nice sculpt. You can see going down the arms here, all the different rivets in his suit everywhere, all even the small details, little silver buttons, those little compartments, little packs, very nice. The boots are also really, really well done. All the silver paint here. And even on the arm, you can see some gold painted. This little gadget on his arm, not sure what that is. And then you have this little pack on his chest. And that is also painted really nicely. So very consistent coloring. Very, very nice paint work. The actual body sculpt, the proportioning is phenomenal. I think it's very on the spot. Hasbro's usually really, really good about it. So overall, the sculpt and the paint of this figure are 10 out of 10. I think it's absolutely amazing. The only part where I'm really unsure and I have mixed feelings about this is the articulation. And it's purely because of this new neck joint. Now, I thought this figure had some trouble looking up. And he does, in a sense that if you push him up too far, you can obviously see that gap. However, he is looking up a decent amount. So I compared him to the X-Wing Luke that came out prior to him, who looks up not much farther than him, honestly. The only way you could have him look up farther is if you bend him back on that joint. So let's bend him back, and then bend this guy back. And honestly, they're looking up about the same distance, in my opinion. It's hard to say. So I'm comparing more Lukes. The Bespin Luke definitely is about the same. Honestly, it isn't really that bad. The only downfall is, as you can see, that gap. But a person could argue too that it's kind of a bummer that you can see that joint in the neck, that that's not like more hidden. So I guess this looks a little more natural in a sense. I don't know, but I mean, arguably it looks more natural. I think this joint is alright though. I don't mind it. It's definitely nice looking. This whole head, the neck, everything, like I said, the proportioning is nice, so it works. So the head looks about that far back. If I'm gonna look farther back, you can bend him backwards more. He looks pretty far down actually. Side to side, there is a crazy amount of neck pivot because of this new joint, so that's a nice perk to that. But down, side to side, all kinds of range of motion. I love that. Another new joint that we have is this butterfly joint in the arms. And I love that because, dude, it allows for him to hold his lightsaber in some more dynamic poses than previous Black Series figures. And I mean, like, dude, in so many duels, lightsaber duels, people hold the lightsaber two-handed, the Jedis do. So that is something we've been lacking. So that's a really nice touch. There is a swivel here, so you can see, and that also kind of fills in for the waist articulation. That's nice. And the arms do go out and forward and back. It is just like a single joint, but still quite a range of motion there. And there's a swivel in that too, so that's nice. Then a swivel here in the wrist and a hinge. Like I said, this serves as a swivel as well. There is no waist articulation as far as I know. The legs go out but are hindered by this a little bit, this piece, but you can kind of slide it up and get these legs to go up pretty far. They can go forward, all right, decent amount. It's okay. Then go back pretty far. There is a rotation here at his thigh, rotation at the knee as well, and a joint in the knee that I think is actually pretty well hidden by this sculpting. So that's a very nice touch. As you can see, this kind of goes over the joint. So that's pretty cool. I like that. But yeah, and I think it's interesting there's a rotation as well. That works pretty well in my opinion. There is no rotation here at the calf. Obviously that's kind of filled in by, that roll's filled in by this knee joint. There is a hinge at the foot like all the other figures. This one is a little bit of a stickler though. I feel like it could snap off at any moment, so I probably should heat that up. And there is an ankle pivot and no other rotation down there, but a nice ankle pivot so you can get him in some very dynamic poses. Now, last but not least, I want to show you how he holds his lightsaber, and I want to show you some size comparisons and comparisons of other figures holding the lightsaber. You can see here too, pretty easy to get on. So let's check this out. So you can see here that holding the lightsaber with two hands isn't very difficult for him, especially because the hands are much more like bendable. They're not like a super hard plastic. They're not going to break or anything if you kind of pull the fingers back and put them on the lightsaber. And the lightsaber does fit in his hands really, really well. But what really allows for this is this new butterfly joint, which I feel like could even be like allow more of a range of motion. I feel like this is almost hindered by this sculpt here. So I feel like there's improvement, and this is really heading in the right direction. Sorry if you can hear my cat meowing. He's definitely wanting my attention. But there's definitely a huge improvement here, and more improvements to come, as you can see. Now, the other figures, you can see Bespin Luke here does not have that range of motion. And he can hold his lightsaber with two hands, but it's so much more awkward, man. It just doesn't it doesn't allow for him to lean forward and really get those dynamic poses. And you can see here it's kind of a pain in the ass to get both hands around that lightsaber. This just looks awkward. That's about as good as it gets, to be completely honest. If you have him raise it or something, that doesn't look very nice. And Luke Skywalker holds his lightsaber two-handed quite a bit in the movies, if not like majority of the fights, the few lightsaber duels he has. And Yav and Luke really can't even hold it two-handed. So that's a bummer. But this figure doing this seriously opens up a whole new door for toy photography and whatnot. I absolutely love that. And it's all because of these butterfly joints. Beautiful. So comparing him to the other Lukes that we've seen in the Black series, and I should throw in the Return of the Jedi Luke as well, you'll notice that in different aspects he's a little bit bigger than the rest of them. Maybe not the Return of the Jedi Luke though. Now that I put him up there, Return of the Jedi Luke is actually standing pretty tall. But these other Luke figures, he's a bit bigger than in different ways. The Yavin Luke not so much, but definitely the Bespin Luke and the X-Wing Luke. It's very subtle though. You can see in the shoulders he's probably a little bit bigger than the Bespin Luke, and the X-Wing Luke is definitely a lot shorter than the rest of them. So they definitely did a good job at sizing him up a little bit. Let's take a look at him next to some other figures. So here we have him next to two different Darth Vaders. We have the New Hope Darth Vader on that side, and the Return of the Jedi SH Figure Arts Darth Vader. And honestly, you could probably pose him with both of these. They both look great next to him, and he's still not like too tall. He's honestly the perfect size in my opinion. I really like the size of this Luke Skywalker. And here he is next to the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. And honestly, both these figures, all three of these figures are in scale. The size is very accurate in my opinion. Mark Hamill's definitely shorter than Harrison Ford. His helmet probably adds a little more height, but very much in proportion. Well guys, after taking a look at his sculpt, his paint, his articulation, packaging, all the accessories he comes with, I would say, in my opinion, that he is definitely worth the $20 he is at right now. I would definitely pay that money. Again, he's a fantastic figure. Again, he shows huge improvement in the Black Series line, and I'm so happy to see where this Hasbro line is going. It's absolutely fantastic. So I definitely recommend this figure. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Is he worth buying, or could you pass up on him? Personally, I can't. I think he's freaking cool as hell. The face technology, that photoreal stuff is amazing. Looks just like Mark Hamill. I love it. The new butterfly joints and everything. Fantastic. You know, for more extra stuff, check out my Instagram, which I will leave my username down below. Otherwise, hit the like button, subscribe, comment on my video, and let me know your thoughts on this action figure and the review, and any suggestions for some stuff you'd like to see me review in the future. Anyways, thank you for watching. Stay healthy and happy, and stay at home during the quarantine, and most importantly, keep collecting. Peace.